Hey everyone, I hope you're keeping safe and well. Today we're going to be looking at the factors impacting performance in the physical factor. We're going to be looking at describe and explain questions so that you have an understanding of the process of answering these questions and hopefully able to access marks in the higher exams. Firstly, a reminder about approaching each style of question. Describe questions are effectively asking you to write in detail whatever you're describing as if somebody had never seen it before, be it an object, a process, things like that. You're going to write your answer like a set of instructions with concise or short statements that are in a logical order. One thing follows the other in a process that makes sense. For instance, if I was setting up a bleed test, I wouldn't discuss how the process of the test happened before actually explaining how I set it up. You will mention who, what, where, when, and how as applicable, and make sure you do not include the why. You'll end up wasting time in the exam, and that's pretty precious. If we were to take the little picture to the right of the screen, if I was to describe that, I could say it's long and thin, has a point at one end and a red rubber at the other. Now, if I was to go and explain here the use of the pencil, I'm going to add a little bit more information, and we're going to go into that in a second. The answer structure for explain can be either PEE or FCI. PEE is point, evidence of your point, an example of your point, and effect of your point. Why is your point important in the big picture? So going back to the pencil, it's long and thin, therefore allows me to hold it easily, and that means that I can write for long periods of time in comfort. It has a point at one end. This means that I can write neatly. It also means that I can read back my writing when I'm finished, so I'm able to legibly understand what has been written. Finally, the red rubber at one end means that I can correct mistakes, which is impactful because I don't have to start my work again should I make a mistake. I've explained the reasons why the pencil is as it is. Now, approaching questions that are discussing impact on performance is slightly different. You will mention the factor, the context where the factor is going to be applicable, and the impact on a performance. And we're going to go into those just now. We'll start with describe. I'm a bit geeky into rugby, so this is quite in-depth language on the right-hand side. I will talk you through it as the video goes. Number 10s are standoffs in rugby. They're the usual playmaker and they get a lot of the ball. They are often also some of the best kickers in the team, making it a really important part of their skill set. So I've written the following descriptions for our cross kicks, which we're about to watch in a minute, and you'll be able to see them in action. As a number of 10, my consistency of skill in kicking allows me to accurately get the ball where I would like it to when attacking. I have a consistent ball drop. That means when I drop the ball, it drops as I want it, so it's not rotating, and can judge the amount of power for each of my kicks, making the flight of the ball appropriate for the situation I find myself in. So as a standoff, if I want to put it high, I kick it in a certain way. If I want to put it low, if I want to put it far, I'll kick it in certain ways, depending on power and the way I drop the ball or kick the ball. Being autonomous in this skill allows me to successfully execute kicks whilst under pressure from approaching opponents who are trying to get the ball back for their team. Now, with this information in mind, these descriptions in mind, we're going to watch the video and see if you can see them in action. Said confidently. So hopefully you saw there the impact on performance as described on the right hand side. I'm going to put it up to you now for your turn. So task 1 of this presentation, I would like you to describe the impact of one of the physical factors below has on the players, now usually wingers, who are receiving the kicks from the number 10. So in that video is often wide players. You're going to choose from one of the following. You're going to choose either power, agility, speed, or consistency of skills. I would like you to describe the impact on performance that those have. Now for the first task, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to have a bit of planning and preparation for this. I'm also going to have you rewatch the video just now, watching from a perspective of the winger rather than the person kicking the ball. So have a good look. How does power, agility, speed, or consistency of skill affect them? And remember, we are going to be describing. So if we pause it here and I get rid of the banner, we see that power is likely going to be impacting on this player's performance, also his consistency of skill. Think about how that might impact this player's ability to get the ball back for the team. In this scenario, the player catching the ball is not on the screen, so we're going to be looking at speed for him to get to the ball. We're also going to have consistency of skills and a bit of agility for him to finish off the chance. Again, here we can see the wing player in line with the kicker. He's going to have to accelerate onto the ball and catch it in order to finish off this chance. Similarly here, we have somebody running onto the ball. This time they've got a bit of difficulty caused by the opponent in order for them to finish, and see how they finish off using their power and agility. At this moment in time, please pause the video and prepare your answer. Alright, so my thoughts on task 1 for the describe question. I've written down some things that I noticed in a describe format so you can check against your answer to see how close we are aligned. My power allows me to outjump my opponent when receiving a kick from my teammates or the opposition so that I can get to the ball before them. In addition, being powerful helps me to break tackles and fend off defenders to allow me to gain more ground in attack. Having speed in rugby means that I can take advantage of any space left in front of me by a defender and move into it quickly before they can close down the space. It also means that if I make a line break, I am able to finish the try-scoring opportunity as the defenders are not fast enough to catch up with me. My agility as a winger means that when I have the ball, I am able to change direction quickly in order to move past the defender who is trying to stop me. It also means that I'm able to change direction when receiving cross kicks should there be any wind that alters the direction of the ball or defenders in the path of my route to the ball. By having consistent catching skills, I rarely drop the ball when receiving either passes or kicks on my wing. It also means that when I'm in possession of the ball, I'm able to offload it to teammates with the ball hitting the desired target. For example, when we are in a 2v1 situation against a defender. Now, to explain the impact on performance, we are going to use the answer structure FCI, factor, context, impact, as I described earlier. And taking this example of the power in order to jump higher than my opponent, here is an explained example. My power as a winger has a positive impact on my team's attacking game. When receiving cross kicks, my power enables me to jump higher than my opponent. This means that I have the opportunity to catch the ball before my opponent, which allows me to retain possession of the ball for my team to attack from or even score points for my team. So I've given the fact I'm discussing the power. The context is me receiving a cross kick against a defender, and the impact is I get to keep the ball for my team and potentially score tries. The second task I would like you to try in this lesson is using the FCI structure, write 1-mark answers explaining the impact that the following features have on individual or team performance in rugby. Factors are agility, speed, and consistency of skills. The impact does not have to be from cross kicks, it can be from any facet of the game. So if you want to look at passing and catching, running with the ball, tackling, set piece in rugby as is shown in the line-out picture at the bottom, then please feel free to write about these. If you wish to write about explaining the impact from the videos we've seen before, you may even want to look at your describe answers to help you out with this. Now, being worth 3 marks as a total task 2, you're being given a 9-minute time limit to complete your answers. The reason for this is in your exam, you will get roughly, if not exactly, 3 minutes per mark for each answer. Please pause the video now to write down your answers. My thoughts on task 2. So for the 3 marks, here are 3 points that you could make. You may have made different points if you explored different aspects of the game, but here's what I saw. My agility as a winger is beneficial to my team in attack. When I have the ball, I am able to change direction quickly in order to move past the defender in front of me. This change of direction sends them the wrong way, meaning that I create space for myself to move forward unopposed, allowing my team to advance up the field. Having speed in rugby allows a player to take advantage of any space left in front of them by a defender. When they receive the ball from a teammate or kick, the player is able to move into the space quickly before defenders can close it down. This means that they cross the gain line, advancing up the pitch for the team or potentially finishing off try-scoring opportunities. Having consistent catching skills as a winger is an advantage in performance. When fielding cross kicks in the opposition 22, I rarely drop the ball. This means that I retain possession of the ball for my team and often score tries as a result of the kick. So hopefully you can see there, I've mentioned the factor, the context of each factor, and the overall impact that has. There can also be negative impacts on performance. So if I lack a feature in the physical factor, I can highlight that in my answers in both describe and explain. The answer process is exactly the same as was with the positives we highlighted before. So for example, the impact of a negative on performance. If a player lacks coordination, their ability to play tennis will be compromised, as they are unable to coordinate the racket to where the ball has been played by an opponent when it is on their backhand side. This results in the player missing the ball anytime it is played to their non-dominant side, meaning that they lose points and run the risk of being easy to defeat. Task 3, I'm going to go through the videos with you. You're going to look at the videos and describe one negative impact that the physical factor has on individual or team performance, and explain a different negative impact that the physical factor has on individual or team performance. For example, the clip may show that there are negatives in speed, power, and agility. For one of those, I will describe the impact. So I may describe on speed, the negative, and for another, I would explain the negative impact of agility. On each of the videos, I've written the factors that I am seeing for us to go through. I will explain as we go along. So to start off here, we have a player on the left sweeping the ball unopposed to an opponent. To a teammate. The ball is intercepted and there's a transition in play, so the red team go from attack to defence. The areas I'd like you to look at are the coordination of the sweep, consistency of skills potentially in the sweep, the reaction time to the transition from the red team, the speed or the lack of speed shown by the red team, and perhaps a lack of agility to stop this attack. In the second video, we'll watch some tennis. Now this is from a final, so the performers are obviously very well capable and they're professional players. I would like you to write your negative or to view the negatives that you see as if they were a consistent issue, so as if you were seeing them a lot rather than in a one-off occasion. In clip 1, we will see consistency of skills from Serena Williams as a potential problem. It is early in the match and she has played a backhand far too long. Think about how you describe the impact of that or explain the impact. In the second clip, we will look at reaction time or agility as an issue from Serena Williams again. The third clip, we will look at speed and the impact that it has as a negative for the player to be able to get to the ball. So what I'd like you to do, if you wish to watch the video or more of the clips, please go back and watch them. You can watch them as many times as you want whilst making notes about your answers. When it comes to writing your answers, please allow yourself 12 minutes maximum to complete the task. Now I've written the task again there just to remind you. For the negative impact that we can see in the videos, describe one, the impact of one on performance, and explain the impact of another. Please pause the video now. Of the negatives highlighted in task 3's videos, I'm going to write about consistency of skills and speed. So this was in the hockey clip. So to describe consistency of skill having a negative impact on performance, consistency of skills can have a negative impact in hockey. When sweeping the ball, a player may mishit it or produce an inaccurate pass that can be intercepted by the opponent before it reaches the desired target. Now to explain the impact of speed from the clip as a negative, my team's lack of speed can have a negative impact on our performance. Having lost the ball and transitioning from attack to defence to try and stop a counter-attack, we are often outpaced. This means that the attacking team have an overload in our D, giving them a variety of options to score. Hopefully you can see the difference between the describe and the explain answers there. In the second video, I have chosen to look at reaction time and agility. Description of reaction time. A slow reaction time can have a negative impact in tennis. If a player is slow to react when seeing an opponent make contact with the ball, they have less time to prepare to execute their return or to even get to the ball to return it. And now my explanation of speed. My lack of speed can have a negative impact on my performance. If an opponent is playing the ball to either side of the court, I find it difficult to run fast enough to return it. This means that if my opponent plays two particularly wide shots in a row in quick succession, I am rarely able to make the second shot and lose the point as a result. So hopefully there from the videos and my answers you can see a link between the impact on performance and a description and an explanation using the describe methods that we said at the start of painting a picture or writing it like a concise list, and the explain of FCI. Name the factor or identify the factor, give a context to why the factor is important, and then give the impact of what has just happened, so the points you've made previously on the bigger picture. The final task that I will leave you with is to consider yourself playing your favourite sport or the sport you play most often. What are your strengths in the physical factor? What area or areas of the physical factor do you still need to develop? Now, the question I'd ask yourself or complete is what impact does the above have on your ability to perform during competitive matches or in practice sessions? This will be useful for you in planning PDPs and be able to write about PDPs or reflecting on your own performance. What I would like from the answers is an FCI answer structure for your explanations, include at least one negative impact, and give yourself a 12-minute time limit to complete the task. Thank you for listening today.